everyone been doing? Good. Now, what's been going on this week, Stevie and Indigo and Jonah and Ezra and Ezariah?
I've been going to school and fitness.
Ezariah, how do you like school?
Can I get a high five? Look here. No.
Do it to Ezra. Ezra, can you high five?
I can't get off right here.
Now, what has happened to you this week, Indigo?
I have school and the playground and in the clothing and I say, my mommy said, and I look up and I said my mom and I Casey and I kan apple and then weer hail.
Now, what has been going on to you, Jonah? Chocolate. Stevie, what's your favorite thing to eat? Chocolate banana ice cream. My favorite thing to eat is treats and junk food. Boo! We have some birthday to celebrate. Guys. Here we go. Roger McKinley, Zach Hamilton, Carol Watson, Sarah Mulder, Ian Laird, Josh Andrew, Marianne Silkstone, and Ruben Hancom. Happy birthday, guys! We also have 2 people in our studio right now who have just celebrated their 3rd birthdays. Indigo and Jonah! Yay! Happy birthday, guys! Dance party! Thanks for joining us and our parents on Girls Go on Monday. See you on Sunday. Bye. Bye.
We're gonna eat some chocolate now.
Here we go. I think we've got audio. We've got audio.
For those of you wondering.
Nothing like a good technical difficulty later in the series. In our penultimate show, nonetheless.
There we go.
Technical difficulties with the audio, but wasn't it so cute having the kids kick the show off for us this morning? Hey, we want to welcome you again to our penultimate show, number 12 out of 13. It's been a long time, a long journey.
Well, Ruben just said, he was like, it's been 3 months. He's like, it's
12
long.
weeks is 3 months.
When you say 12 weeks, it's like, oh, 12 weeks. Then you're like, it's 3 months.
3 months of this Where's God on Mondays show. So if you are out there joining us, we want to invite you to be a part of the show with us today. Please, for any questions that we talk about, for anything that we chat about, we want to hear your thoughts and your comments. And start us off by saying g'day, hi, kia ora, wherever you are in the world. Let us know you're watching. Yeah, so we have blank message. So Ruben's figured out the technical
We're struggling, man.
this morning, but we We want to. Is that someone? Is that Mark telling us that we are having sound
Pete,
difficulties?
yeah, Pete did his own commentary and he finds it very funny.
So we'll get to that as Ruben sorts himself out this morning. But thank you for that. This is a really good time to remind you too that we have really enjoyed hearing your stories throughout the past 3 months. 3 months. So please continue to send them in. Send them into stories@ottawabaptist.org.
Oh yeah, hold on, that's me.
Ruben knows he's got this one queued up today.
There we go.
Stories@ottawabaptist.org.nz. We've loved hearing your stories. We want to keep hearing your stories. And we would love to keep some of these things open. One of the things I think we've learned through this time is prayer and stories and testimony are really powerful. So we want to keep these email addresses open even after Where's God on Monday comes to a close. We want to keep these going. So please send in your stories of what God has been up to in your life and around you. And we're all so encouraged when we hear what God is up to in the everyday journeys of people at OBC. And of course too, we have our prayer at ottawabaptist.org.nz for your prayer and praise requests. So send them in so that we can pray with you, pray for you, and praise God with you. So great time to send those in as well. Keep us going in the background and flick on those emails to those email addresses. Cool. Hey, so today we're going to be talking
It
about...
works.
What works?
There
Oh, that does. There we go. This morning we're going to be talking about tackling the big issues. And so team, I want to ask you some big issue questions this morning. We're going to lay it out there. Hopefully you're encouraged. I'm sure we're going to be encouraged. But team, Dee, tell us, what do you have for breakfast?
I have nothing for breakfast. I usually
A
don't
liquid
eat,
breakfast?
Anytime.
Coffee breakfast?
and usually I don't like eating breakfast. I don't know. Except if I go to a cafe and then I have brunch.
Brunch isn't breakfast, is it?
I know, that's what I'm saying. I never eat anything like first thing in the morning unless I know that I'm gonna have like a long day out and I know that I'm not gonna be having to stop to eat. Then I'll eat something and I'll usually eat like toast.
I'm
You know,
so keen for
something-
breakfast. Like, no way I'd skip breakfast.
It's the best meal.
Yeah.
Cereal.
Bro, I get up there.
Weet-Bix, you guys.
I eat a lot of Weet-Bix.
How many
That's-
Weet-Bix do your kids eat, John?
Azzy is 4 or 5 in the morning, Jonah 2 or 3, I'm about 6. Always with yogurt, always with a sprinkle of sugar.
See, I eat Weet-Bix at night.
I eat it at
I
night
put
too.
raisins on it.
I eat it at night, it's probably our biggest expense. Weet-Bix.
I love
Recipe
breakfast for
says
dinner
it.
though. That's what I
Since
like.
the whole let's have a look at it. This video that I created, which looks like that, you know.
Very
Yeah.
well done.
We
Very
actually,
professional.
I've been eating toast for breakfast with a coffee. Like most mornings, it's quite funny. I'll think of that video and I'll sit there, I'll put my plate down, and I'll put my coffee down, and be like,
And in your head you've got
yeah. I've got the music going da-da-da-da, in my head. It's great.
Yeah, very awesome. I know Mark is quite a good cook.
He
Surely
is the
he
cook
has like
in
a
our
massive.
house.
Surely he has quite a massive breakfast.
Well, yeah. Well, I told you about what he did on Mother's Day for me. Like that whole.
Did you eat any of it?
Did I eat any of it?
Yeah, well, you don't
I-
eat breakfast.
Well, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock when I ate it. Because he let me sleep in a little bit, and then it wasn't ready all the
10
way,
o'clock
so-
is not sleeping in a little bit, Dee. 10 o'clock
No,
is...
I had to stay in the
sleeping a
room
lot.
because the girls said I had to stay in. So I slept till maybe like 9 or maybe 8:30, 9ish because they came in and said Happy Mother's
You
Day.
just said
But-
that on the internet waves. Everyone now knows you sleep till like midday.
No, that's not midday. No, I haven't done that since I was a teenager.
It's so like-
Because, yeah. But, yeah, but he made that whole Mother's Day pancake thing, and that was really good.
I mean, he
Now
does-
she's expecting it for her birthday too, Mark.
Yeah.
You said that.
Oh, actually, I just had my birthday. And
No, true. Oh, yeah.
Mother's Day, I know it's been and gone as well.
close.
isn't
Mother's Day, my birthday.
it? Dad's Day is coming up soon. What do you do for that?
Well,
Dinner.
we actually, because it's Father's Day today, technically here in New Zealand, but it's Sunday in America. So we wanted to celebrate Mark early because he's American. So we actually did Father's Day on Saturday for him. And I made him cook his own thing. Because he liked it too, and I don't know. I mean, I could have.
Some people like
It's
cooking.
like, you know how you enjoy cooking?
Yeah.
It's Father's Day, I'm going to let you do
Well,
it.
this is what we got
It's a
him.
present.
We got him like a griddle. Like, do you guys?
A grill.
No, a griddle. It's called a griddle. It's like a big hot pan, like a hot plate. So you can cook like 6 pancakes at once. Because we just have like the one fry pan, and I mean we have more
Takes
than one.
ages, yeah, yeah.
It takes like a long time. So if you want to
Oh, I
have
know.
like
And they've got the thing in the middle.
no, this one is just all flat. And so you can do, I think he got 6 on there. And the girls were like, had a stack of pancakes. And they're like, oh, we can have a stack now. And
Genuine
so
stack.
that was his awesome Father's Day
Certainly not how it
gift.
works in my house. It's one at a time, and the kids are fighting over each one.
Yeah, no, go get it. They're on sale at Briscoe's right now. So that's,
Briscoe's always on sale.
yeah. Never buy anything.
Briscoes.co.uk.
Yeah. Never buy
Shut up.
anything full price because they're always goes on
There is a-
sale one time.
Okay,
Anyway, that's what I
Ruben.
eat for
Yes.
breakfast. What do you eat for breakfast? Toast. That's
Toast and coffee. If I'm in a rush, because toast
This
takes
is the
5
whole
minutes.
show this
yeah,
morning. We're
welcome
talking
to
breakfast.
Bird God on
What
Monday.
are you eating?
Starting with your breakfast. And we know many of you will be eating your breakfast as you watch us this morning. So it's legitimate conversation.
If I'm in a rush, it's cereal because toast is a 5-minute.
You've got to get it to the exact right brownness.
Yeah, and I've worked it out over the last little while. My toast is exactly 5 minutes.
You're using like vocals or something? I noticed
No.
it takes quite a while to toast.
No, it's just whatever my toaster must just be a week
You
toaster.
know what
it
someone
takes
told
5
me?
minutes.
You know the little dial?
It's minutes.
It's minutes.
It's minutes, but I didn't know
That's
that
what we
until
were saying.
I read a meme on Facebook and I was like, oh.
It's your life hack today, people. The dial is minutes.
It's minutes, but yeah, the meme that you said, it says it's minutes, not toastedness. So,
Well, that's what I thought. I'm like, I
do
don't
you
know.
really trust it in
3.5.
education? Do you?
But I tried. You know what? I think I timed my
You just went
my
and timed it.
timer is just a little
Alright,
off.
so let us know what you eat for breakfast, everyone. We would love to know.
We need some content.
We need some content this morning. We're struggling for content beyond breakfast, apparently. Let us know. Pete, we know you're watching. What are you having for breakfast tomorrow morning over in Ghana? What's your favourite Bible passage, team? Ruben, what's your favourite passage?
It's one that's quite cool for me. It was on a little post-it note on one of those like tree things that we do at youth group in church sometimes. In fact, Mum might have got it from the one we did in the facility at youth group actually.
Yeah.
And
You take
it's-
one and you leave one?
Yeah, exactly. So whatever Mum picked up, it was Job 8 verse 21, and it's He will once again fill your mouth with joy and your lips with laughter and joy, something like that. You know, I had it before. Anyway, and it was just quite timely and topical with my dad and stuff. You know, it was a really cool reminder, and it's stuck up in the kitchen now. So every time I'm making my toast, having my coffee, it's there. You'd think I know it by now.
It's really good that idea that even through the bad times and it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, God's got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect example.
Yeah. No, it's a really cool verse for that one.
Yeah.
Dee, do you have one?
I think I like Philippians 3. I like all of Paul's writings, but I like Philippians 3 where it's pressing towards the goal. And I don't know if it's because growing up with my dad and he's very athletic and he was an athlete. But you know, he's always like saying, you know, do things with purpose and do things with excellence. And the pressing towards a goal, it's talking about forgetting the past and looking forward. And pressing towards the goal, which is just like what you do in any kind of sporting event. You want to win, you want to get to the end, you want to get the prize, but it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know if it's like an athlete kind of thing, but I just always have loved that verse and just pressing towards the goal, and that the one thing is God, and that's the end goal is getting to God, but also not just getting to Him, but doing things with Him as well at the same time. You know, it's not just like I'm trying to get there, but I'm trying to get there with Him and bring people, as many people as I can, with me to
It's
the
real
goal
good.
at the end. So
And
that's-
good to what kind of we're talking about today with tackling the big issues and what that's looked like for the church over the past 3 months, because it's been a really good reminder that we can't always stay where we are in our comfort zones, and church can't always be exactly as it's always been, because church will always change and music always changes and everything always changes, and so this COVID time has shaken that up and has reminded us, hey, yeah, we need to, what's the next thing that God wants us to press towards, what's next on our, so personal and congregational. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
For me, I've got lots. My favourite passage is John 4, the Samaritan lady at the well and living water. But my favourite verse is Zephaniah 3:17, where God sings when He rejoices over you in song. It's the only passage in the whole Bible where God sings and He decides to sing over His people, that He rejoices in song. As a musician, I find that really awesome, that God sings. It's something that we do for him, but that he does it over us. So I think that's just real beautiful. I love that.
My mum said to me last night, she goes, I didn't know Jordan was a musician.
That's what I was gonna say.
There's
This
a
guy.
lot of people that might not know a lot of things about you, Jordan.
Yes, I try to keep some stuff hidden.
Yeah.
For those of you that were not at the 5 p.m. service, Jordan preached last night, and then he also did this whole little creative thing. He was preaching with the guitar, was preaching, and halfway would start playing and singing, and I was like, I've never.
Amazing what a little bit of reverb and a
Yeah,
good
he had me up on there, he's like, you gotta do this and crank this one up and then the sound this isn't mute this one when I'm singing and
yeah.
he had me make him sound beautiful.
Ruben was our sound man last night, all around tech guy. But yes, amazing what a little bit of reverb and a good EQ can do for someone's voice. It was a lot of fun last night, and we will talk a little bit later about the different services we've been doing. But what was the greatest piece of advice that you've ever received?
I didn't think about this question.
Yeah, I didn't prep you guys too well for these questions.
Nope.
So while you guys think about that, I'll share mine, or I'll share one that I shared at Young Adults last night. That has been really good for me, and might be really good for you wherever you're at in your life. And feel free, again, jump on the Chatteroonies and let us know what's been your the greatest piece of advice you've ever received. But one huge piece of advice that I received from a pastor of mine when I was young and stupid, more stupid, and what do the people think of you when you walk in the room? That was one that we're talking about at Young Adults last night, but a really good one to think, hey, who am I presenting as myself? We call it relational intelligence. Who am I presenting to the people? When you walk into a room, when you walk into the rugby club and there's people there who are having a drink, what part of Christ
You're
am
talking
I?
about the context of like lunchroom as well, like your co-workers.
Your co-workers, yeah. What do your co-workers think of you when you walk in for during the snoko break? What do you do when you're going in for that coffee? When you carry yourself into the rugby club and everyone's there celebrating the match, how do they see you? What are they thinking when you walk in? Do they go, oh man, here's Dada, I can't wait to have a chat with him, or here comes Yada, they're gonna down buzz me because I'm such a sinner. What are they thinking when you walk into the room, and how can we portray Jesus in that moment? Okay. Hopefully, whatever you managed to come up with something.
I think my greatest piece of advice that was given to me was maybe from my dad, and it's real simple. Was just do everything with purpose. And so he's not the man of very many words, but and just everything that we do. And so it was like with schoolwork, with church life, and all these different things. But it carries into your Christian life, and you're doing everything with a purpose. Which I guess that's why my favorite verse is, Philippians 3, with a pressing towards a goal, but making sure that everything you do is done with purpose. Like you walk with purpose, and like, because when we're kids, we just like walk along like this. He's like, walk with purpose, and we're like, okay, we're walking with purpose.
I'm just off the top of my head, you have responsibility and achiever.
Yeah.
And discipline.
Yes.
In your top 5. We're talking strengths finders here, and Dee has these purpose-driven strengths in her top 5, so can see that in the way you talk, that we've got to get there and this is how we do it, and it's the most important thing that we do it and we do it well.
This is my answers today.
And it's good because I love strengths finders, and I love the fact that we're working in our strengths, and so to hear you going, this is the most important, and this is how we do it, and this is it's really cool. Encouraging.
Tomorrow, don't I?
We're doing yours tomorrow.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. We're doing Ruben's Strengths Finders stuff, which is going to be really
Jordan
exciting.
is a strengths finder coach
Hit
as
him
well.
I do some strengths
You did
stuff.
not know that?
I love it. Hit me up. Ruben,
Yep.
do you have some advice for us?
I can't think right now of a specific word from a certain person or anything, but just kind of the life lesson of living just like respectfully and just like kind of treating everyone with respect and giving everyone the time of day sort of thing. Like, you might not have the time of day for this sort of like a certain person or a certain co-worker or whatever, but just, be humble and treat everyone with respect, and you'll kind of earn that back again. And
The golden rule.
yeah.
What is it?
Primary school, shout out Red Beach
the
School,
golden
Rich
rule
Hartley.
is we do it in Bible and schools. Treat everybody the way you would like to be treated.
Yeah, there's a walking in that person's shoes kind of thing. It was one of the we approached Stan and Joy Parker to be on the show this morning because they have this amazing ability to just connect with anybody, regardless of their background, regardless of what's going on in their life. They're just able to come in total love, total free of judgment. You know, doesn't look at the cover at all. Fully just goes, what's the story of this person, and how can I help them step closer to Jesus? And so we wanted them on the show, but they're busy today down on the beach doing Bible study stuff.
So Pete's missing Bianca.
Yeah,
we're also missing Bianca.
We're missing Bianca. She'll have heaps of advice
Be really
giving us
nice.
this morning. She's wise as.
Maybe you'll hear about maybe next week we'll hear from Bianca.
We're going to hear from Bianca next week. She is a part of the show. Next week's all planned, our ultimate finale. So we have a Toblerone over there. We have a competition that we want to run this morning for the first person who sends through on the chat. So if you're watching live, if you're the first person to comment on the chat, what is the greatest piece of advice you've ever had, and your favourite Bible passage and why it's your favourite Bible passage, and your reason cannot be because I'd win a Toblerone.
Toblerone does not count.
Send it through on the chat. First one through with a legitimate answer, we will send you a Toblerone. Even you, Pete, we will send it to Ghana. I don't know how it works with the borders at the moment, but we will send it to you.
I've got eyes on the chat right here, just off screen, and I'm going to keep a very close eye and put the first one up.
Yeah. Okay, so we're tackling the big issues today. We're talking about church. We're talking about some of the stuff that is going on, some of the challenges that we've faced. And so I want to know, Tim, I want to chat with you guys about what have you been encouraged with as our service styles have had to change as well over this last wee while. And what have you been encouraged with over the past 3 months? As we went to church online, with the Homegrown series, we went into the 3 service style, which is 1 more week left of the 3 services as it currently is. What have you been encouraged with? What is, you know?
Do you know this?
Yeah, I've been encouraged by having something for us as a church to be engaged with during lockdown. First of all, but when you look at online, everybody's church kind of went online, and no church is better than another. I mean, some people might have better production, and but with kids' church, we didn't really make a whole thing because that would be a lot. I know I saw some churches that were doing like recording, and they were recording in the homes, and somebody else who would have been Al Rubin pieced everything together and made like this whole video that you show your kids on church, for kids' church on Sunday. So we went a different route, and which is kind of what I like the way that we're going right now, is having the parents take on the responsibility of discipling your children, because they're actually the ones that are spending the most time with their kids.
We might get an hour a week.
Yeah, we do. We get 1 hour a week, and most of that is game time
games
and singing and dancing.
Relationship building. And
but I like that fact in kids' church, that we didn't just kind of come up with something. Not that it's wrong, but we didn't just come up with something, here, play this on Sunday for your kids. But we have like a whole thing for the parents to follow, and discussion time, which is kind of what we've been doing for the 10 a.m. services, which the family services.
I had the same thing when we were online with iYouth, and we created a whole web page on our website for iYouth Online, and iYouth became just a Zoom once a week where we just played games and chatted about our weeks, and so there was more of a pastoral connection, relational thing going on. And the website, the web page, had a few games on it, but it was there for the parents to go, oh, this is something that I can instill. All the youth will be on the same page, and so it became more parent driven. And I thought after a few weeks no one was paying any attention to it, so I didn't do it for a week, and then I got like complaints going, why didn't you update this week's thing? We need to, so it was really cool. I wasn't sure, and it turns out parents were using it, so it was really cool. What about you, bro? What through this time?
I was just really encouraged by the flexibility of it all. You know, it's completely, I mean, this is kind of sound like a broken record here, but it's totally unforeseen times, and I was just amazed at how each ministry kind of changed and adapted in the way that suited them best. So, youth group age, roughly 13 to 18 year olds, we need social interaction and face-to-face chatting, so the best we could do was through Zoom, and we Zoomed every week, and often youth pastors would be like, all right, that's it, see ya, I'm done, here to leave, and we'd stay on for another hour or so, and that's it was just really cool to see that, and the church from home would be videos every week. It was just really cool to see everyone adapting and really coming to fill that space and
I'm really
like
appreciative of it because it's one of those things that if you'd done it when COVID wasn't happening, you might get a bit of pushback. But everyone was just so excited to have
Some kind of connection.
this
with it.
connection and to still be fed from their pastor, to still have this thing that we cared enough about church and about our community that something was happening and that everyone was buying into that and buying into the mission in that time too, that you know we have a place to be. God has a vision for us as OBC, and so you know COVID is a part of that journey, I guess. And so people are like, yeah, I'm on board with it, and that's the same thing I think we've seen as we've moved to 3 services, that people are understanding that you know the 10 a.m., the 2 p.m. and the 5 p.m. you know they all required restrictions, they required some changes, and it meant that we could explore different options, or able to explore what a family integrated service would really look like, which has been really awesome.
Which I don't know if some of the, it's really funny. I like the 10 a.m. because we have, for those of you who don't come to 10 a.m., we actually do YouTube videos, and it's all actions, and so all the kids are dancing. And I think all the parents kind of showed up on the first Sunday, they're like, are we really going to have to dance in front of everybody else? I'm like, yes you are, and we are going to do this. And so it's been fun on the 10 a.m. service to see all the parents kind of getting into it, and also all the kids. We had a lot of new families, and the kids are like up the front. They want to dance and they want to join in, and it's been really fun to see.
I've really
that.
loved seeing the way that you and Mark especially have managed to weave children into a service, and then Mark's able to bring a message, and he does it in a sort of fun, light-hearted way. But it's deep enough that parents are there going, yeah, it's good, you know, and he's soaking it in, but at the same time, like he's not, you know, nailing them, so the kid's like, oh, the preacher's scary. Like it's this cool moment of the family fully integrated. The message is it's not light, you know, it's real meaty, and everyone's getting something out of the service. And we're doing this cool worship thing, and sometimes those kids' songs, Jesus is my superhero. It's so old, and it seems silly in the moment, but when you stop and you think, man, he kind of is. He is everything I need in the moment of my despair. He's everything I need. He is better than Batman, and he's better than Superman.
Than Barbie. That's the one. Stevie, when they said, better than Barbie, Stevie's like, what? Better than Barbie? And then she goes, yeah, Jesus is better than Barbie. I'm like, well, thank you. I hope that you think that.
Yeah, and my son did the same thing about Batman. What do you mean? But it's this beautiful truth that he is actually everything we need. And so I've really loved that. I've loved the 2 p.m. service. A couple of weeks ago we had Dave Kimpton share, and I was just in hysterics watching this 2 p.m. service. It's a bit more old school, a bit more traditional in the song choices, and but we had these testimonies of some ladies getting up and grabbing the mic and sharing what God had been doing, and just watching the way that the whole congregation was just so enthused by these ladies sharing their stories and laughing at Dave's jokes. It was just really encouraging to see the community come back together, and the 5 p.m. has been really cool for us to explore that as well.
I love the 5 p.m.
The 5 p.m. has been really cool.
It's okay.
5 p.m. has been awesome. Like, just seeing it kind of develop into what it is, you know. It's, as you said before, it's something that if we didn't have COVID, there might be a bit of pushback for doing changes like this, but everyone's kind of going, well, you know, this is what we've got, and they're embracing it and they're loving it. Like, we're seeing people that don't normally come to OBC, we're seeing people come back to OBC, and it's just been really cool to be involved in that.
It's been really encouraging for the 5 p.m. because the young adults have, for about the last 12 months, young adults 18 to 25s have been meeting on Sunday evenings. And so we go to the 5 p.m. service, and then we have dinner together, and then we've been having a Bible study. And they've all sort of been saying that the 5 p.m. gives us something to aim towards. It gives us a vision, something that we kind of feel God is leading us towards. And whenever that comes to fruition, but you know, it's this really beautiful thing that now there's a goal for us.
12 months ago, when young adults kind of started, that's what I wanted it to turn into, was a young adult led service, and then some kai afterwards, come together with some kai, maybe a Bible study as well. But I really wanted an evening service out of it, and now it's kind of happening.
It's happening for now anyway, and it has been really cool.
One more Sunday.
One more Sunday. But it has been really cool, and watching the fact that a young adult sort of driven service, but something that incorporates and it's, still welcome to everyone in the body of Christ. That and a lot of like my generation, slightly older, not too old, we get a kick out of watching these guys have a worship, and I know there's others in our older generations that do that as well, having a style and buying into what God is doing through church, which is really cool.
We have Pat Mossett this week.
We have
worship
Pat, and it's
from
going to
Life
be
Church.
awesome.
Worshiping.
Oh, it's
with
Pat
us.
on worship.
Pat is on worship.
Yo,
It's
Pat's
going to be,
Be there, 5 p.m.
Pat and Josh Ripley, like they're so good.
yeah, their heart of worship is awesome, and it's been a really cool kickstart, and I think for the 5 p.m. having guys who love to just get up and love to worship and love to take people into that space with them.
Yeah.
It's been really encouraging. So through this time, it's been a really tough time. It's been challenging for not just our church, but for other churches. What are some of the lessons that we have learned through this time? Might be ministry, might not be. What are some of the lessons? You got one or two, Ruben? Things that we've
So you
learned?
can start.
Deacons.
I'm going to use your one that you said earlier, but I think rest is one of the biggest lessons that we've all learned. I mean, I think we all kind of, at the beginning of lockdown, we're like, oh, I want to do this, but you literally can't do anything. Cops are out making sure that no one's driving further than they need to drive, and but being forced into that time of rest has been an eye-opener that we actually really do need to rest, and is something that we need to take into account when we're planning out our weeks, planning out our whole year, that we actually plan that time to rest and not just kind of keep going and then burn ourselves out.
And that's true for everyone, isn't it? That you at home might need a rest, but for us as ministry leaders, we often get caught up in, oh, this needs to happen and this needs to happen, and I've got to get the communion cups ready and everything's got to happen, and we forget to take a breather ourselves. And so I think COVID was a really good opportunity or time for us to reassess what we're doing and how we're doing it, and to go, oh, I need a break. And then we'd have people like Dennis Bridle, who was the man, and he'd always be really encouraging. I'm so glad you guys are doing. He's possibly watching right now. G'day, Dennis. And he would say, man, it's so cool what you're doing. Have you had a time to have a breather? Have you had a break? So he, that care as well for us is beautiful. I really love that. Shifting priorities has been a really, there's this thing that I learned years ago. You have a quadrant of things that are urgent and things that are important, and how much time we spend in the urgent, the non-urgent and not important time doing things that...
Which is usually a lot.
We spend
do a lot of the little things that...
Yeah, and we don't spend as much time as we should in the important categories, the things that are important and the things that are urgent. We tend to spend time doing the silly little things that almost anyone could do, and they could do them whenever they wanted. So it's, I don't know why we do that. We fall into that trap.
Oh, it sounds like me. It's like, here's these tasks. This one's way more important right now, but this one's fun.
Yeah, it's easier to do. It's less stressful.
Yeah.
We go into that, but sometimes it's not the healthiest way to do things. One of the things we've learned with the youth group, because the youth group is in a really cool place. We had a record number of numbers
Wednesday
last
was
week.
insane.
It's big.
It was insane.
Big number.
Was it your first Wednesday back? Was it
Second.
It was the second Wednesday back. We had a big Wednesday the first Wednesday back, but then last week it's like everyone came and brought their
It
friends.
kind of it was the second Wednesday back, but the first one was pretty much a massive worship night, worship and prayer and sharing night, and then this was kind of the first Wednesday back that looked remotely like what it used to. We had some games and some word from Yannick actually. Yannick shared and more worship as well, but it was just unbelievable, the amount of people. I was up on stage trying to run a game, and it was mental.
People were crammed
It
in the
was
auditorium.
mental. Never had that issue before. It was cool.
So we had big numbers, and we kind of in this space where we're reflecting over the last few months, and we're kind of like, oh, it's working. Things are going really well. Young people are worshiping. Young people are being challenged. Small groups are humming. Leaders are connecting well with their young people. But one of the areas that we need to work on is our connection with families. So the kids are doing well, and there's a great kid and youth connection, but there isn't such a great youth and parent connection from our ministry point of view. And so how do we partner better with parents? How do we connect better with them? So I think that for us has been one of the things that we're putting on our radar that was highlighted through this time, because a lot of our small group leaders, in fact all of our teenagers, were really well connected with through the lockdown. That's one of the reasons, and I have a lot of kudos to give to the small group leaders, that they did a really good job of touching base and making sure they were doing okay through that time. But not many of us connected with parents through that time. And there's a lot of parents and families out there who are struggling. And so what can we do to step into that gap and to pray for you guys? And if we don't know, so there's something for us to be working on, a good lesson for us, because if we want a well-rounded ministry, we need to be making sure we touch bases with all of those.
I think that's kind of the same as in kids ministry. When during this time, when I talk to you about like discipleship and stuff, and how the parents are the main disciplers of their kids. But what I've been trying to think about is how we can equip our parents to better disciple. Like what kind of programs are there available that we can actually connect with the parents, and then the parents can know what to do. Because I think when kids come with big questions, they're like, let's go to church and see what they say. But you know, like empowering parents and equipping them with like the right things that they need to actually disciple their kids, because they are the ones with them. So it's kind of like that kind of connection with the parents is how we can equip them better. So I think that's what I've learned a lot more. Instead of just trying to do everything we can for the kids on Sunday, is how we can help them throughout the whole of their lives with their parents.
Exactly. I think one of the things that really stuck out to me was how through the COVID time, how Sunday, we realised just how small, I guess, Sunday is, and that church is so much more. The body of Christ is so much more than just a service that happens for an hour or two on a Sunday morning. And because we didn't have that option really available to us, things like pastoral care, mentoring, discipleship, connection, evangelism, all these things came to the fore, and we're asking these questions. How are we evangelizing now that we can't do the things that we've always done? How are we mentoring? Because maybe it's not happening the way it should be. How are we connecting and making sure everyone is pastorally looked after? And so a lot of these questions were being thrown out, and we're having to ask ourselves, and we're reevaluating ministry and church as a whole. And I think it was a really good challenge for us, because as we look forward now into where our ministries are heading, are we ticking all those boxes? You know, what does evangelism look like now? What does media look like now, moving forward?
That's a big one.
What does youth look like? What does kids ministry? What does Sunday service look like now when we try to bring in all of these aspects? For me, wanting strong integration from our young people through to our older generations. How are we looking after each other, mentoring? How are we integrating? How are our young people who are learning about God and learning to live every day for Jesus, how are they utilizing their gifts and their abilities for the kingdom of God? And who's following up on that? Because we can't do everyone. We have to, so there needs to be some stuff that we need to look at and go, oh, how do we do that in a better way? So.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
We have a winner? Is it
We
Pete?
have a winner. No.
Oh. Hey, Kareem.
So I'm going to read the rest of the comment because we've run out of
Read it out
space.
for my bro.
So, the favourite passage for me is Matthew 22 verse 37 to 39, because it just sums up the biggest choice I can make every day to actively choose to love.
Woo. All right. That is awesome. You, Kareem, will get Toblerone. It's over there behind the camera.
I'll bring it to school today.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Delivered.
Fancy.
Kareen is a fantastic example of the parent thing we were talking about before. We put the word out that we want to partner with parents and with the youth group, and Kareen was like, I'll do it. And so she showed up on Wednesday, and we threw a high-vis vest on her, and she went out into the car park, and she was just greeting people and saying g'day, and connecting with parents and creating that face of, oh, it's not some young person who, and we want our young people like Ruben connecting with the teenagers inside. So having a parent who's out there who's only focusing on connecting with other parents is huge, and it shows, hey, that we care about the whole thing, not just the teenagers.
It was great. I walked past her at one point Wednesday night. She's like, "Oi, not to me, to another, pick up that rubbish you just dropped. It was so good.
That is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and we want to thank you for that, Kareem, because there's nothing like being a small group leader or a youth leader, and you're trying to build these awesome relationships with young people, and then you have to be the buzzkill.
Yeah.
I had to be the buzzkill on Wednesday. We had all these cool young people and now playing with the ball, and like that's normally okay, but then like there's just a point where it's just naughty. And I didn't want to, but you have to go. Stop playing with the ball, guys. You know you're not playing with the ball, and you just you feel like you can't do that, or you feel like you're just going to ruin everyone's night. But when a parent's partner is, it can mean they can be the bad guy for us, and so it's this wonderful partnership that we can have. And I want to thank you for making.
Is it bad guy or responsible guy?
Well, to the
You're
teenager,
Yeah,
it feels like
there's nothing. There's no.
That's perspective. So, teenager, you're the
Two
bad
camps.
guy, you're the buzzkill.
I'm trying to help you out, Kareem.
Yeah.
You're not the bad guy.
But we genuinely appreciate what you do,
It's been really awesome.
and it's huge. And even on the end of the night, like I share quite often because youth pastor, youth group is always leaving a mess, right? We're full of teenagers. They don't see the mess, and there's like we had a heap of them there the other night.
Wait, this
so
is a mess?
Yeah, right. And so there's just so much going on, and we're caring about connecting with our young people when we're not so much looking for the mess. So at the end of the night, when we're tired, we just get in our cars and go home. And the next day, Mark comes in and goes, "Oh, look at this mess the youth group have left." And so having the parents just go around and check that stuff for us and say, "Hey, don't forget to clean up that room and stuff." That's a huge part as well. And so we're really grateful for parents like Kareem playing a huge part in us moving forward as a church, partnering better. And moving forward. Dee, we have some exciting news coming up from a person within the church.
Usually I do Life of the Church, but Talia did that for us today.
Yeah,
We did
thank you.
so-
Thank you for the youngsters, by the way.
Great
That was
job.
great.
So happy birthday to all of those who did happy birthdays this week. Oh, and your son, 3.
Jonah's 3.
Yeah,
Bianca's
and
3
Indigo,
as well, yeah.
little one who's sitting over here. She was so cute.
Anybody catch what she was saying in that video?
I
I
got,
think all the parents knew
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying.
I don't know.
I got
I heard
school
3
and
words.
playground, but I think Bianca told me she's speaking.
Some of it was Afrikaans.
Some of it was Afrikaans,
Anyway, so she's the cutest little thing. But she was her birthday. Anyway, so we have a book. Here we go. Written by Frances Hall, and she is actually going to be doing a book signing tomorrow at Sierra Cafe, which is in Silverdale Mall, tomorrow at 11 a.m., right?
11 a.m.
11 a.m. So I am going to be there, and I'm going to buy a copy of this book. And I've heard that it's amazing. I heard that it's very funny, that some people that I have not gotten their permission to use their name, but she told me that she would read it at night, wake her husband up and tell him the funny little part that happened.
It's
And
criticism.
then and then he would wake up and start laughing, and then he couldn't go back to sleep because he was laughing at all the different little anecdotes and memoirs that Frances Hall has put in this book. So from what I've heard, it is an amazing book, and I'm excited to go buy my copy tomorrow. Join me tomorrow at Silverdale Mall.
Silverdale Mall.
Sierra Coffee.
Sierra Coffee.
Spoiler, she's buying a copy because this isn't actually a book. This is just like,
This is, but I made it bigger so that you can all see
You
it.
can see it.
Um,
And it's called Scatterological Wisdom.
Scatterological Wisdom by Frances Hall. And if you go and you buy a copy tomorrow, you will also get 50% off your coffee
yeah.
at Sierra Coffee.
And they do Irish cream at Sierra.
They do an amazing coffee. So go get yourself a book, support our church members, our church family, and also get some half off coffee.
And get yourself the book. It's from what I gather, I haven't read it, full disclosure, but from what I gather, it's life lessons from Frances's life that she's been able to put into this funny journey, proverb type thing of all the things that she's learned and feels is worthy of passing on to others. So go grab a copy.
Yes.
Chewy Ariel, she's going to be there signing books.
Yep.
So go and have a chat and yeah, be really good.
You know how you're worried about this being a short show because it didn't have too much content?
Yeah.
9:45.
That's good.
All right.
Rock.
Should I pray?
Or you.
I will close this out. Make sure that you guys join us next week for our big finale show.
Yeah.
Final show.
It's going to be exciting.
These guys will laugh.
It's been
when I
a
say
journey.
finale.
Something we had more thought gone into next week than we have today,
We
like
did.
a week ago.
We did play a lot for this week, and a lot of it's just fallen through. But next week is going to be awesome.
Yeah, next week
It's
is
going to
going
be
to be
it's
very
going to be a highlight as we finish the season for Where's God on Monday. Never say never, but I do think we're planning on finishing this up.
Season 1.
Season 1. All right. God, we thank you for this time that we have together, God, that we can connect with one another here in the studio, but also out in our community and with everybody that is watching. God, we ask that you will be with us this week. God, we ask that you will help us to see you and where you are working, God, within our lives and within the lives of people around us. God, we're so thankful and grateful for who you are and what you've done through our lives through this time, God. Continue to help us to work for you, God, and work with you, alongside you, God, pressing towards the goal. God, we love you. Thank you for this time. We ask that you'll bless everybody that is watching this, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week for our final show. Ka kite anō. Good hanging out with you this morning.
Don't finish.
We love you, Pete. Have a good evening. Have a good sleep. We'll see you guys next Monday.